Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Work in Progress Wednesday, we've got Hiroshi Tanahashi. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back to the channel today. Like I said, I'm making a custom Hiroshi Tanahashi. And if you don't watch New Japan, chances are you're not going to know who Tanahashi is. He did have a match against, oh gosh, who did he wrestle? I believe he wrestled at Forbidden Door, maybe against Jon Moxley. He was supposed to wrestle against CM Punk at Forbidden Door, and then Punk ended up not being there. Or maybe it was Hangman Page. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, he is the John Cena of New Japan, and I have been slowly getting more and more into New Japan. I had my New Japan showcase video quite a while back, but really got into New Japan when Kenny Omega and Okada were putting on their Unreal series of matches, and then from there I just kind of picked up more and more, and I wouldn't say I follow it regularly, but I kind of know what's going on, and I know the big names. And for the longest time, Hiroshi Tanahashi was the biggest guy for New Japan, at least one of them up there, and he's widely considered as one of the best wrestlers of all time, just depending on who you talk to. And he's someone I've wanted in my collection for a long time, and I did make a custom of him a long time ago. So I went back on my Instagram, I looked, and 2018 I made customs of Okada, I made a custom of Kenny Omega, and then I made Tanahashi. It was way before I was painting head scans. I think I used a Ted DiBiase head scan for Tanahashi. I used a Miz head scan for Okada, and then Omega, I used the Daniel Bryan head and a DDP hairpiece. So those days are long gone. The customs were all painted, so they were all right. But obviously we've upgraded here. So I've got my Tanahashi, and the formula I decided to go with did take a little bit of thinking. So I'm going to use the Legends legs from Shawn Michaels. Going to acetone off all the zebra design, and then I'm going to use some calves from a Bobby Heenan Weasel figure. So his legs have the their skin tone color, but they have the their pants. They have the pants mold on them, so it looks weird. It looks creepy. I picked up a couple of those Bobby Heenan figures at Ollie's. I don't know if you have Ollie's, they have good stuff cheap. Got that for $12, but gonna use those calves. And then I have my Kurt Angle here. This is an extra elite. I'm gonna do something with this Kurt Angle. I haven't decided quite what yet, but I'm just gonna take these white boots for Tanahashi, and then black knee pads. So the torso is from the Bash at the Beach Sting figure, and I think the Surfer Stings that we did get, I think those all use this torso, but it's a kind of middle torso between the more slim kind of ripped torso and then the Triple H buff torso. And Tanahashi's been in New Japan for a long time. He's been wrestling a long time, and depending on what era you chose, there's a few options I think that worked for torso, but this one is one I don't use often, and I thought this was a pretty good build for him. He is a little bit bigger up top, and I thought that this represented him well. And then I have this head from Heteration, so I'm going to paint that up. Going to go through everything we just talked about. Let's not waste any more time. First off here, I'm gonna get the first layer of paint on the head. I normally do probably 3-4 layers. The paints that I use are Apple Barrel. Those are from Walmart. They're real cheap, nothing fancy whatsoever. The paints that I use to mix this tan skin, then I'll go back and forth a little bit. I'll put on some skin tone, and then I will paint the calves white. Got to paint over those. Real easy stuff, just going back and forth, making sure I get enough base layers on both of them. Next up is the best part of the video. We've got to acetone off all the designs, and one thing I noticed this time, which I don't remember what it was, I just used this Legend Shawn for. I think it was when I did the WrestleMania custom, but this design, so the crotch piece, the zebra stripes are raised, so there's some texture to it, which doesn't really mess anything up, but once it's all the designs off and everything. It wasn't terrible, but I just don't know what causes that. If it's on all the Legends figures, I feel like I didn't notice that before, but so after all that, we've arrived at my favorite part of my customs, and that is applying all the decals. So I cut everything out. Again, these are the clear decals, so I didn't have to do anything too special with cutting them out. I do cut them as close as I can, but the thing I had to focus on here was cutting out the crotch piece and making sure that that lined up well. Sometimes Curb Stomp will put dotted lines that you cut along on the decals. He didn't do that on these, so I just took an old set of Seth Rollins decals, cut that out, and then traced it on the back of the Tanahashi decals here. Really easy, not bad at all. And then the butt or the back part of the decals, there was kind of a line you could tell. It wasn't like the dotted line he put, but it was still a spot that you can kind of see where it should cut naturally. So that was really easy to cut. But after that, same as always, we've got our micro set, we've got our micro sole, we've got our 2 paint brushes that we're going to use to apply that, and then I will use the hair dryer. I do it off screen just so I don't blow stuff around, but same process. Got our sponge, got all that. See you on the flip side. Time to wrap things up for the day. Here is the finished product. Here's my finished ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi. And I started to do the head. I started to paint the hair and everything on camera, but I wanted to get really detailed with this. And for some reason, the last couple customs I've been doing, I've kind of been struggling with the eyes. And I had to get really close up to the head. And in the camera, pretty much all you could see was the top of my head, and I know that you're here to see some action figure customs, not my receding hairline. So I ended up just not putting that in here. You can see it in the screen a little bit here. Obviously you didn't see the process, but I painted it a brown color, and then he has had a few different looks, but he almost always has his darker hair with some blonde highlights. So I did a dry brush over just about everything. The front, back, it's kind of the same even dry brush, but with the texture in the hair, I think it looks really, really cool. Then as far as decals went, everything lined up really well. I was really happy with how it turned out. I did notice that after I had gone back and looked at the reference picture, that the black on the tights kind of continues underneath the knee pads, which obviously you see it's a little inaccurate, but it wasn't a deal breaker for me. I'm really happy with how it turned out. These clear decals just go on so clean. But that is going to be everything for today's Work in Progress Wednesday. If you like what we're doing here, go check out some of the other Work in Progress Wednesday videos we have. The 500 subscriber giveaway is still going, so this Friday, not this Friday, but the following Friday is going to be my cutoff for people to get into it. If you want to be included in the giveaway, go find the video on my profile channel, that's what I meant. All the details, instructions, everything you need to know about the giveaway are in the video. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to reach out on Instagram. Other than that, please like, share, subscribe. I always appreciate that. And remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.